Story number 1. She always smiled. Offered us food, she looked like a sweet, lonely grandma. But the nightmares started the moment I was left alone with her. And what we found in her sewing room, that will haunt me forever. It happened during our second year in college. My best friend Leanne and I were lucky to find a quiet, cheap boarding house not too far from our university. It was owned by an old woman, Miss Aurora. She was a widow, never remarried, always cheerful, always humming. She cooked us food and brought us snacks. The neighborhood folks whispered that she was crazy, that something wasn't right about her. But we didn't believe them. Miss Aurora had one rule: never enter the sewing room. She said it was her sanctuary. She was a seamstress, still made clothes, fixed curtains, hemmed uniforms. We respected her space until I was left alone. Leanne had to go home to the province for a week. I stayed behind to finish projects. The first few nights, everything felt normal. Until one night, as I was binge-watching a series, I heard footsteps on the second floor. But I was the only one upstairs. Miss Aurora's room was on the ground floor. I paused the show. I listened. Then, nothing. Silence. That same night, I had a dream. Miss Aurora walked into my room, her eyes bloodshot red, holding a rusty pair of sewing scissors. She didn't speak. She just kept walking toward me. I woke up sweating, heart racing. I told myself it was just stress, just a dream. But the next night I saw her again, in my dreams. This time she was in the kitchen, stirring soup, and then she poured something dark from a vial. Poison. Why was I dreaming like this? About her? I tried to shake it off. She was so kind. It didn't make sense. Leanne returned after a week. I told her everything. She was freaked out, but not entirely convinced. I don't know. Maybe it's a warning, or just your subconscious. We didn't want to believe anything bad. Miss Aurora had always been kind to us, until one day she left for the market. We were alone, and we did the one thing we promised we wouldn't. We opened the sewing room. The air was thick. It smelled off. Inside were mannequins, 6 of them all in tattered dresses. That wasn't the scary part. Each mannequin had a real photograph taped over the face. One of an old man, 2 teenage girls, a young boy. Their eyes had been scratched out in the photos. Shaken, we looked around more. We found an old photo album tucked in a drawer. The pictures were of her, Miss Aurora, with those same people, her family, but they looked old. No new photos, no social media, no video calls like she said. And then the second album, that one was different. Photos from inside a mental institution, patients in hospital gowns, padded rooms. And there she was, Miss Aurora, younger, holding a clipboard. And then another photo. This time, she was the one tied down, strapped to a hospital bed, in a straitjacket. We found a small leather-bound diary. In it, pages written in shaky, disturbed handwriting. 2 new girls moved in. They are nice, but the mannequins need new faces. I'll take their eyes. I'll sew their skin. They'll stay. They'll never leave. But it's wrong. I must not go back. I don't want the hospital again. Please stop. She was talking to herself. We put the diary back, shut the albums, packed our things that night. We didn't say goodbye. We didn't wait. We never looked back. I still wonder if those dreams were warnings. If someone or something was trying to protect us. Maybe the neighbors were right. Maybe Miss Aurora really did lose her mind, or maybe she never got it back. Some people wear masks of kindness but hide twisted horrors underneath. What would you do if you were in our place? Would you ignore the signs or leave before it's too late? Story number 2. I thought I'd go viral summoning spirits with a Ouija board. But what answered me wasn't from this world. I'm Adrian. I've always been obsessed with the paranormal. Ghosts, demons, haunted places, you name it. And recently, I heard you could make a killing on YouTube by filming your own ghost hunting content. So I did it. I bought a Ouija board, grabbed my camera, wrapped my rosary around my hand, and headed to the abandoned cemetery near my town. It was past midnight, the air thick with fog. No guards, no visitors, no one around for miles. Just me and the dead. I set up the lights, placed the Bible beside the board, and started recording. I even did an opening prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Just to be safe, I placed my fingers lightly on the planchette and whispered, Spirit of the glass, are you in? Nothing, just the sound of wind brushing through the dead trees. I asked again, Spirit of the glass, are you in? And then the planchette twitched. Then slowly it slid, B-E-H-I-N-D. My heart nearly exploded in my chest. Every hair on my body stood straight up. Something was behind me. I spun around, camera shaking in my hand. But nothing. I whispered a prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. But as I prayed, I began to hear it, dozens of whispers praying with me. All around me, behind the graves, in the shadows. The planchette flew across the ground. The Bible was yanked off the stone bench and thrown through the cemetery gate. Something wanted me gone. I ran. I didn't even think about closing the session. I left everything behind, camera still rolling. But I couldn't leave it like that. Everyone says, if you don't close the session, something might follow you. So the next morning, I went back. The cemetery was silent, still. I found the board, half burned. The Bible, charred. The rosary I wrapped around my hand, gone. I buried everything in the soil beneath a twisted dead tree, prayed over it, and I haven't touched a Ouija board since. I stopped vlogging. I never posted the footage because I realized some views just aren't worth it. Would you still press record if you knew it might cost you your soul? Have you ever tried using a Ouija board? What would you do if it spelled behind you? Story number 3. It was our last year of high school. Me, Jonas, Neil, Marco, and Ivy. Yeah, one girl, she was the boldest among us, had this dumb tradition. Every time the school was having something major like interims or Ash Wednesday activities, we'd sneak off to this far part of the campus. We called it the forest. It wasn't really a forest, just an overgrown area at the edge of the school, too far for teachers or guards to bother checking. We were just chilling, smoking, talking about girls, laughing about the dumbest things. Then Jonas sniffed the air and went, "Do you guys smell that?" It wasn't the cigarette. It was burnt wood? Something smoky but thicker. We followed it deeper, thought it might be a teacher or someone else. But what we saw, it still haunts me. A man, no, a thing, was beating a tree branch violently against another tree. There was smoke coming from the base of the tree, like he was trying to light something or burn something. He was huge, over 6 feet. His skin was reddish. His eyes were just 2 black, sunken pits. and he was speaking, fast, deep, and in a language none of us had ever heard. Ivy let out a scream. The man stopped, and then he turned toward us and started running. We ran, but it didn't feel like running. It felt like trying to move through water, every step heavy, sluggish, like something wanted to keep us there. We thought once we reached the classroom buildings we'd be safe, but each classroom window we passed, he was there, standing inside, watching us, every time. Same face, same expression, like he was waiting. Finally, we saw the gym lights. We saw a guard. We screamed for help. "Looks like you kids saw a demon," the guard laughed. Then we said it. The red man, the huge eyes, the smoke. He stopped laughing. He brought us to his small office, gave us water. "Don't talk about what you saw," he said. "Don't even think about it." Later that night, once all the students were gone, we met him behind the campus, away from everything. He told us that forest used to be someone's land. Before the school, it was a cemetery. There was a man who lost his wife and kids in a fire. He lived right where the tree now burns. When the school was built, they pushed him out. He hung himself in the forest. Some believe he's still there, guarding what he believes is his land, and he hates intruders, especially ones who laugh. We never spoke of it again. Even now, we don't go near that part of the school. I can't even look at it from afar. We all know what we saw, and we know it's still there. What would you do if you saw something like that and no one else believed you? Would you speak about it or pretend it never happened? Story number 4. When my husband and I decided to move into his family's ancestral home, I thought it was going to be the beginning of something beautiful. I was 1 month pregnant, and after years of living in the noisy city, we wanted peace. A place where we could start fresh, where the baby could grow surrounded by nature, not chaos. So when he suggested the old ancestral house, I said yes without hesitation. The house sat proudly on top of a quiet mountain, isolated and forgotten, with a view of the city lights below and fields of green all around us. Every morning a bird song filled the air, and the breeze smelled like clean earth and rain. The farm animals nearby made it feel almost unreal, like a postcard come to life. But that was only during the day. The nights, they were different. Our first 2 weeks were peaceful, just us, the dogs, and the promise of new beginnings. But one night, we heard footsteps outside, slow, heavy, encircling the house. We thought it might just be animals. Until 2 a.m. came. The dogs were barking, not just barking, growling, whining, and backing away from the windows. Something was outside. My husband told me to stay in bed. I didn't argue. He cracked open the window, just a little, and that's when he saw it. A massive wild pig was running in circles around our house, but it wasn't just any pig. Its eyes, bloodshot, teary, and full of rage, glowed in the dark. Its mouth foamed and it squealed like it was in pain or worse, possessed. The dogs didn't even try to attack. They just stood there, terrified. It lasted 10 minutes. 10 minutes of fear I can't even describe. My husband never let me see it. He knew something wasn't right. And that night, everything changed. He started hearing things. The old piano in the corner began playing by itself at night. The phonograph too, with scratchy, broken voices from a forgotten era. Dishes clanged in the sink when no one was there. Footsteps echoed upstairs when we were both in bed. But I couldn't hear any of it, and I didn't believe him. I thought maybe it was just stress, I even joked, hope the ghost likes lullabies. But then, it happened to me. One night I woke up thirsty. I didn't want to wake him, so I went downstairs. The kitchen was dim, only lit by the fridge and a sliver of moonlight. As I drank water, I heard it. The sound of a spoon clattering on the floor. I picked it up, and just as I was about to leave, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. A pale face, thin, smiling wide, hair curled in an old-fashioned style. Peeking at me from the hallway, I turned my head. Nothing, but my chest tightened. My breath got heavy. I tried to calm myself, and then the piano started playing. Faint at first, then louder. I walked into the living room, empty. I told myself it's just in my head, until I heard it. A whisper, right next to my ear. "Hello." It was an old woman's voice, raspy, cold. I froze. Every hair on my body stood on end. And then I saw her, a translucent figure in a black, tattered gown. Her face stretched in both laughter and sorrow. Her hands shook violently, her nails long and dirty, veins crawling under her skin. She pointed at my stomach. I dropped to my knees. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. She came closer. Finally, I screamed as loud as I could. The lights turned on. My husband rushed in, and she vanished. But I was broken. I told him we needed to leave. Now we packed up immediately, but just before we stepped out, we heard it again. That pig. It was there, again, squealing, running around the house. For the first time I saw it. And I knew this wasn't an animal. This was something evil. We locked ourselves in the room and called the local authorities. Morning came, and one of the officers who responded asked a question that made my blood run cold. "Is your wife pregnant?" He said they'd had reports of a creature that looked like a wild boar drawn to pregnant women, a demon, one that devours unborn children, and he told us the spirits in the house might have been trying to warn us, not scare us. Maybe they were trying to protect me before it was too late, but it was already too late. That same day I noticed the bloodstains on my nightgown. We rushed to the local clinic, and they told me the words no mother ever wants to hear. "We're sorry, there's no heartbeat." I lost the baby, and I'll never forget the look in that old woman's ghostly eyes, the way she reached out to touch my belly, crying and laughing at the same time, like she knew, like she was trying to stop it. We never went back to that house, not even once. Do you think the spirits were evil, or were they trying to protect her from something worse? And if you were in their place, would you have stayed even one more night? Story number 5. I've been driving taxis for 6 years, but nothing prepared me for the passenger who vanished without a trace. And what happened next still haunts me every night. It was supposed to be just another graveyard shift, just a few more rides before heading home. The streets were silent, the city asleep. I remember checking the clock, 2:17 a.m., and that's when I saw her. She stood by the side of the road near a broken street lamp, umbrella closed, drenched from the light rain, waving one hand slowly. I almost didn't stop, but something about her looked normal. Just a tired woman needing a ride. She got in the back seat. She looked completely normal. No chills, no creepy vibes. Just a soft voice and a polite smile. She didn't give me a full address, just said, "Go straight. I'll tell you when to turn." We drove for about 20 minutes. The further we went, the more isolated it became. At first, it was just the outskirts, but as she guided me left and right, turn after turn, we started heading into the more rural part of the town. No lights, no cars, no homes, just empty road, trees, fog, and silence. "Do you still live far?" I asked. "Almost there," she smiled and softly said, calm, polite, completely normal voice. But the silence was deafening, and the deeper we went, the colder the air inside my taxi became. I even turned off the AC, but the chill remained. Then finally, she said, "You can stop here." I pulled over slowly, reached for the overhead light to check on her, but she was gone. The seat behind me was completely empty. I froze. I didn't want to believe it. I opened the door, got out, and looked around with my phone light. Nothing, just the road and dense, dark forest. I ran back into the taxi, locked the doors, and that's when the radio started acting up. Loud static, followed by a woman screaming, a blood-curdling scream. It came from the forest. One long, tortured scream, followed by sobbing. "Help me." That's when I lost it. I floored the gas pedal and drove like hell, tires screeching on the wet road. I didn't stop until I reached a small, 24-hour gas station. I rushed inside the gas station, trembling. My hands shook as I asked for water and cigarettes. The cashier stared at me, confused. "You okay, man? You look like you saw a ghost." I told him everything, and to my surprise, he didn't look shocked. "You're not the first driver to tell me that story," he said. 8 years ago, a woman was found dead near that forest, robbed, assaulted, her body dumped there. No one ever got caught. Locals say she's still looking for someone to help her, or maybe someone to take revenge on. Then he leaned closer and whispered something I'll never forget. "If she spoke to you, she might think you're the one who can help her." I left that night, never took passengers again after midnight. But some nights, around 2:17 a.m., I can still hear soft sobbing from my back seat, and the faint smell of wet hair and old perfume. Would you still stop for a stranger on an empty road at 2 a.m.? What would you have done if you were in that moment? 5 true horror stories. 5 chilling encounters. But remember, not all ghosts want to harm you. Some might just be trying to tell you something before it's too late. Which story haunted you the most tonight? Let me know in the comments below, because your story might be next. If you enjoyed these terrifying tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss what's hiding in the dark. Until we meet again, sleep tight if you can.